Hi there and welcome.
You're listening to Animals and Us, Voices of a New Paradigm.
My name is Avantika, and I'm a researcher exploring animal consciousness, environmental sustainability, and planetary health. I want to help bring animal perspectives to the table and transform our relationship with the natural world.
And I'm Barbara. I'm an animal communicator and retired veterinarian. My true passion is exploring the hearts and souls of animals and helping people come to a much deeper understanding of who the animals truly are at their core.
This podcast is for anyone who loves animals and nature and has an interest in their own personal and spiritual development. We'll bring you powerful conversations with fascinating people about animal and nature sentience, consciousness, and communication.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey of love, respect, understanding, and care for the fellow beings who share our beautiful Mother Earth with us.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Animals and Us, Voices of a New Paradigm.
We are so excited to introduce a wonderful, fabulous woman named Cathrine Nyquist. And Cathrine was born in Norway, and in 2012, she moved to South Africa, and with her partner, Lizanne, they created a whole sanctuary for big cats called Panthera Africa. I met Cathrine when she spoke on a summit online, and I was so excited to meet her because she's a woman of my own heart. And I learned that with the big cats that they have at the sanctuary, they regularly communicate with them telepathically to find out what the animals really need and how they're feeling and what they're thinking. And to me, this is thrilling. And so I connected with Cathrine, and here we are. And she is a compassionate, beautiful, conscious woman who has dedicated her life to rescuing abused animals. So welcome, Cathrine.
Thank you so much.
Would you tell us just a little bit about your background and how you got to Africa and to Panthera?
Yes, so thank you first of all for inviting me on your great podcast and also for your heartfelt welcome. So yeah, my journey, so as you know and heard, I come from Norway and I used to be in commercial real estate. That was kind of my background. And then I was in between two jobs and wanted to kind of do something different to make a difference. And so I ended up volunteering in South Africa. And this was back in 2011. And I had seen these beautiful lion cub photos, and the message was like they have been abandoned by their mothers, come and help them. And so I was like, oh, this is beautiful. I can do something good. I can give money to a good cause. So I went there for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks was all that was needed for my heart to fall in love with both South Africa as a country, but also, of course, the animals and the people. And so I ended up returning many times, and there were, yeah, in particular 4 or 5 actually beautiful small lions that really, really pulled on my heartstrings, and it ended up actually me, yeah, taking 8 months leave from my work to figure out what is kind of this whole feeling inside of me, and yeah, and now 10 years later, here I am, still in South Africa and still with these animals.
Wow, that's amazing. Um, I'm so curious to know more about the sanctuary and kind of how your journey led you there in opening Panthera Africa. What was behind that?
So I feel my journey is very connected to these 5 lions. And I think I had been there for maybe 3 months. And suddenly one day, 4 of those 5 lions were sent away. And then my questions was like, but like, aren't they yours? No, we're just racing them for someone else. And I was like, but where are they going? Well, they're going to a breeding facility. And I was like, what's a breeding facility? And then so all these questions started, and I was like, what is really going on here? And so my partner, now wife, so at the moment, or at the time, we were just friends, and between her and myself, we then managed to get ourselves into that facility that these four lions were sent to. And I feel that is that day that we went to that facility is it's the kind of the deciding factor in my life. Like I feel that it's a massive kind of shift, because suddenly I was faced with the reality of what is actually happening in the lion industry in South Africa. Um, I I describe it like as a concentration camp for animals. You see animals stacked together. There is minimal of space. You see them, you feel them like they're despair, and they are only there for breeding, for making money, and they are like there's so many animals that were inbred, so they had deformities, because they like the breeders, they don't care whether it's a father, daughter, brother, sister, like there's no genetics in this. So there's a huge, huge welfare issue in this thing. So I remember came there and I was met by lots of animals that were not happy. And then I looked to my side and suddenly I see these four lions looking at me with these big eyes and were just like, help. Like that was all I felt. And still to this day, like I've never, like you feel so hopeless. Like what can you actually do? So what I did was that I went to my white knight. His name is Oliver, and I said, one day I will come and fetch you. And at the time, I was still working in Norway. I had no plans of being in South Africa. But then that kind of 2 years later, myself and Lizanne, we actually went to fetch him, and that was the start of Panthera Africa to give a place of love, respect, and honor of these incredible animals, and also be an educational platform where people can actually understand that whether you are a tourist and wanting to come and take a photo of a lion or a cheetah or whatever animal it is, or if you are a volunteer thinking that you are contributing to something, like they cover it with conservation or that this is for genetics or release or whatever they use, and like to really speak the truth and speak the voice of the lions and other big cats. So that was kind of the start of this journey.
Wow. That sounds heartbreaking. I can't
Mm,
imagine being in your shoes and seeing that firsthand. Like it's one thing
mm,
to hear about it, on the news or through media, but to actually
mm,
be there in person and to see that happen, it sounds
mm,
heartbreaking just listening to you describe it. So, I mean, that was a big step for you. That was a big decision for you to
mm.
leave behind this what sounds like probably a really comfortable life and
Yeah.
to take on this brand new chapter of your life. So like I'm so curious to know,
Mm,
how you knew that this was the path that you wanted to take, and that,
mm.
like, that conviction, where did it come from? Because it probably took a
Mm.
lot of courage to step away from that life and start something totally new.
Yeah, it's a beautiful question, and I need to actually, like, if I backtrack a little, because there's when you say this and ask me this question, there's like one particular moment that stands out for me, and it was during my volunteering. Before I hadn't thought of Panthera Africa, hadn't thought of anything, but I had been working a whole day like by the lions and like done all sorts of work. All the other volunteers had gone back home, and then I was like alone because I spent as much time as I could by the animals. And then I walked home by myself on this like African dirt road, like it's like in a movie. It's like you can think about the most perfect sunset, like there were colors of the, like it was everywhere on the sky. and I was walking and I was so calm, and like I was filled with this incredible feeling. And then like it was so clear, but there was like a voice that whispered to me, one day you and Lausanne will open a lion sanctuary.
I just got
And
goosebumps.
Me
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
That's
and
amazing.
actually me too.
Wow.
Wow.
And like it was so clear that I actually turned around to see, like I felt there was like someone there talking to me. Like now, after like now that the years has gone by and I understand more about the soul and your heart and your spirit, that it was actually my own heart telling me like this is this is what you're going to do. So because I'm also like I'm known as Tinkerbell on the farm, so I'm a very much like I love to dream and envision, and I get all these crazy ideas. And like I remember, I was like, "This is an amazing idea," and Lisanne, she has had 10, 15 years of animal experience, and I have business experience. So I thought, okay, this is a fantastic partnership. And then fast forward, and then when all these things started to happen with the animals, and what actually, like I felt they were my children, and I also felt like I was like one of the reasons why they actually were in this industry, because I had contributed to all of this. So when you add that kind of that idea and that spark, like that was laying like a seed, kind of growing in me, and then having to leave your lions, if I can call them mine, like yeah, it's not mine, but like they're my best friends, and I think that I felt like like this is enough, like something needs to be done. And for me, like it wasn't actually, it's probably one of the easiest choices I've made. I know it sounds strange, but I knew it so deep in my soul that this is something I just have to do. And I was like, if it doesn't work, well, then I'll go back and I'll get the job back home. Like it doesn't really matter. And so I think like I know now, so it's easier now to look back and know that my heart and my mind and everything was aligned. But at the time, it was such a like a drive and a passion in me that I needed to save these lions that I felt responsible for in this industry. And it wasn't just these four animals. Yeah, there are many other animals as well. Some that we have managed to rescue, and others that unfortunately has died in the industry. So it's like yeah, it's been. So when you ask like the what made you do this, it's a combination of your soul speaking to me and also having this massive love for them, and also feeling that I like enough is enough and something needs to be done.
Wow. Well, that really speaks to, what can happen when we just listen and stop and pay attention to, like you said, what our soul or what our higher self is trying to tell us. Um, and when the time is right for you to do it. So, I mean, we're so happy to hear that you acted on that, and obviously you've never looked back since, and you're probably so happy with that decision. And now I know that your experience with Panthera and one of the values that you have is communicating with animals and actually tuning in to exchange thoughts and feelings and emotions with them and really getting a good understanding of what it is that they need from you. So if you can tell us more about that, like how did your journey with actually communicating with them start? And how did that impact the work that you were doing?
Yeah, so the first time we heard, even like I had never heard about animal communication, like it was totally something that was new to me. And so the first time we heard about it was actually related to my partner's Lisanne's, I call her like her king, Neptune, who's the king of Panthera Africa. But that's kind of her experience. But like my first experience that I really felt in my heart was with Oliver, my white knight. So remember, like I mentioned, that I made him a promise. And so upon we found him, we managed to get him to Panthera Africa. He had arrived here, and so we had the animal communicator coming here because at the time we had, like, I didn't know how to practice, but I've heard about it, so we wanted to make sure, are our animals now happy here? They've been here for 2 weeks. Is there anything they need? And like, kind of, we were like, what can we do? And then we had a lady that she walked around and spoke to all the animals, and then she came back in to give us feedback. And then she was like, "Yeah, so, but there's one thing I like. I don't know if this means anything to you, Cathrine, but Oliver just says thank you for keeping your promise."
Wow.
Yeah, and still to this day, it's like it hits me at the core of my heart, and like that for me was such like, how is it possible? Like I said it to a lion like 2 years ago, and
And intuitively too.
yeah, exactly. And so that was like my, okay, I really need to understand more about this and how we can assist, how we can understand them. And so that was kind of the first massive experience for me. And then we took animal communication course, Lisanne and myself. And then just like there were three different people suddenly like showing up on our doorstep, like it's like divine intervention. And so we started to practice it ourselves. And what we saw is the tremendous effect it has on the animal's welfare. So from like I like to always bring it back to the human experience for us to really understand. But first of all, you can think of if you never heard and you never understood, like how extremely desperate and frustrated and like it is for me at least, like I still, even though I speak, I still get misunderstood and not like the, and that brings a lot of like emotions up. So I can just imagine like going a whole life in captivity and never have your voice heard. So that's the one aspect. The other aspect is of course for them to also express themselves. Like so, a lot of like captive places, they say, "Yeah, this is a lion, this is a leopard, this is a cheetah." For us, it's like, no, this is Obi. He is the one we call the wise one. The reason is that his wisdom carries such profound like guidance every time he speaks, like is an example. So for me, it's like it's them individually. You get to know them as an individual being, the same as we three here. We all ladies, we all humans, but we are very different and we have a different story. So that's the one aspect. And the third aspect is also how to assist them in their own journey of healing. Because all these animals have been through a lot of trauma. All of them has been taken away from their mothers at only days old. They have been like suffering in a lot of different situations. So we have animals that has been bred for the bone trade. Like many people don't know about it, but it's like so it's basically they are just bred to die to be able to get their bones. So it's like a total lack of animal welfare. We have from captive households, we have from circus, we have from petting, like 100 people a day touching these animals. So yeah, so there's a lot of trauma in these animals, and so through the animal communication, we are then also able to layer for layer be able to address all the different things that also for them are issues that are severely affecting their welfare. So yeah, so animal communication, I say it's one of the most important things we do for the welfare of our animals.
That's yeah, that sounds like such an important and integral component of the work that you're trying to do. And it also sounds like animal communication would be sort of the way that you can connect spiritually as well with these animals, because they're going through their own spiritual journeys, as are we. And this is a way to really do this work together. And so I'm wondering if animal communication was like a gateway into your own spiritual journey at all, and what you have learned or taken from this whole process for yourself.
So a simple answer is yes. A massive, massive, massive gateway for me. So what I'm learning more and more is that these animals, they are here also to assist us on our journey of awakening or ascension, or whatever you want to call our growth as a soul. And it is beyond incredible, like the guidance that they can give us. So I communicate with them from anything that it can be work related. So whether I'm going into a meeting with, say, a man that is pro hunting, and then I need to come in there, and then I need to meet him on a communal ground. So then I spoke to one of the lions, and like, okay, what is the best angle to connect with this gentleman in order to have a balanced conversation, yet also manage to kind of speak his language so he understands my perspective, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's an example. It can be with staff, it can be with my partner, it can be with family, or it can even be with me. So, for example, if there are things that I'm doing, whether it is with crystals or healing work, or whether it is for my own healing within my own trauma, they are absolutely incredible. Like, they have done meditative journeys with me. So they manage to safely, so I feel safe, and they bring me back to memory so I can remember and go back there and heal that memory and get perspective of a situation. And so then rise in a total different awareness when I'm here in like my 42-year-old body. So instead of kind of your young child, inner child is traumatized. So, and yeah, this is like one aspect. I can go on. This is like my favorite, actually, my favorite thing about the animal communication is this aspect of understanding the oneness and connectedness of all life, of everything that is happening, whether it is with them or other animals on the other side of the earth, or like whatever it is. It's basically the road to finding yourself and finding your heart. Who are you? And kind of align with your authentic self, basically. Yeah, and awaken your heart. Like, they're all about love. The only thing they it's just love, 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 love. That's all it is. And they, like, yeah, they teach you about forgiveness. They teach you about, like, okay, maybe do you think that they could have had a different perspective, or do you really think they were in there to hurt you? Like, we humans, we make all these stories, and they are like, okay, there is not just two stories. There are a million perspectives. So kind of get out of your ego and kind of step out and take an ego perspective on the situation, and you will see it's actually everything is okay. And then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I was wrong. So yeah, it's amazing.
Cathrine, I love what you've said. It's so beautiful. And I've got a question about when you speak with a lion about going into a meeting with someone, for instance.
Yeah.
Each of them have their own individual souls and temperaments, personalities. So do you choose carefully which lion you're going to speak to about a particular issue?
So, yeah, yes, I do. So I have, for example, so I have a we have a beautiful black leopard. So she's often to do with, to always kind of, if you are in a situation that you feel overwhelmed, like there's too much emotions, I'm like, I can't see like where to go, what to do. And she's like, Cathrine, just breathe. Okay, is this your fault? And I'm like, no, have you done anything wrong? I was like, no. Have you explained the situation? Yes. She's like, then why are you so, it's nothing to do with you, it's their things. And I'm like, oh. And she's like, life is too here to enjoy. And then she kind of turns the whole situation around. So that's like her speciality. And then if I have family things, I have Obi only. And if I have yeah, so they're all their different things. But also what I would like to say, which I feel is important, is that I very often also I don't direct to one specific, but I go into meditation and then I ask for what is the best guidance for me. So I ask like whoever wants to step in and give me guidance. And suddenly they like it's unexpected which of the animals comes in or whatever other spirit guide that comes in to help.
So when you do that, I know that probably you speak with group consciousness, the group consciousness of lion or leopard or whatever. And then sometimes it sounds like there are individuals that step up for a particular purpose. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I would say that very like I now I'm going to be very open and honest. So often when I chat, so I call it channeling information. So whether it is to assist me on my journey or whether it is whatever other wisdom comes down to me, there's very often I don't actually know who I get the information from. So like you said, it's like a consciousness of whether it is like people talk to angels or spirit or the creator, whatever you want to address. But very often they're like, because I am very blessed to have known a lot of big cats, and many of them are in heaven at the moment and also some are in the physical. Very often they step in as my guides, and also interestingly, when you ask this question, is that they also open up for me. So they kind of become a gateway for me to also channel information that I on my own actually wouldn't be able to, because of the vibration of like they hold such a pure and high vibration that they actually open up for me to be able to receive messages through them and via them.
Wow. And to be honest too, I have had a guide. I consider a guide that is a particular lion. His name is Aslan, like in the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. But he's a very, very high being, and what I've come to is that he's not just he's not in body at this point. But what I've come to is that he is an archetype. There's an archetypal lion energy that we can connect with that's very, very powerful and beautiful and loving. And I wonder if that's just part of what you're talking about too.
Yeah, and I happen to have met this Aslan one time, and so I know him very well, both in like a spirit form and like you say, they are such divine beings, and like you say, archetypal. They hold such a profound essence in them that they like. I agree with you that it's. They are just a kind of a representation of this consciousness that you refer to. Hmm.
And how would you describe that particular conscious, say, lion archetypal energy or lion consciousness? What do you think are the characteristics of that energy?
So the first thing that comes to me is divinity. Like it is so pure, so like close to whether you like I people call whether you call it God or the creator or the divine or whatever name people have for it. Like it is so close to um the I am, if that makes sense. Like the essence of all life. Yeah, that I think is the best description I can have. It is such a pure, like unconditional love. It is like what I feel is like with that. energy within you. You stand in absolute integrity. You stand in absolute divine truth. You stand in your authentic self, like they connect you with your true essence. And most of all, they open your heart to the most incredible love that there is, I think, that there is possible. Like, it is just this, yeah, like a cosmic heart that beats in them that they allow you to feel in you.
Yes. Yes, and my sense too is that it's no mistake that they're considered the king of beasts, because from my perspective what I've seen is they hold this energy of leadership, and it's like all the other beings are under their authority, almost under their guardianship. And yeah, that's my sense too.
Yeah, it's such
Yeah.
a profound, like, my nickname, it's like Cathrine Lionheart, and I feel it. Like I feel that my the leader within me, who I am, and the leader that I want the world to see, like being all of you, speaking truth, daring to kind of follow your dreams and do what you're meant to be doing, and daring to. So for me, it's like I'm grown up in a very conservative family in Norway, and like it was husband, kids, and marriage, and like that life. And suddenly I'm in Africa I've married a lady, and I have lions, and like very different. And it's like you become, when you dare to step into that lion-heartedness, that leadership of a lion, you dare to be that brave person. And you dare to speak that truth and stand in absolute integrity, that they so beautifully do.
Yes, that's so beautiful. And I have a question for you now that we're on a roll here. Um, lions and the big cats, they can be ferocious predators. And I know that lions, when there's a male lion that takes over a pride, he can kill the babies. I mean, that's part of what they do to establish their own reign, their own territory. Have you had any conversations with the lions or interactions where you have come to some understanding about how they can be these loving, compassionate, wise beings, while at the same time they can be quite aggressive and killers? How do you reconcile that?
So I haven't spoken to anyone about exactly that topic. However, how I see it is that, we as humans, we see it as something horrible. Yeah. So how can a father, or how can a male kill other young lions, who are not his children, and then start to then impregnate the other ladies, for example? So we see this as horrible. They see this as a divine, a need in order for their genetics and their survival, that the best lions, if I can call it that, grows further. So if I don't know if I explained that easily, but so basically they know by intuition, they know that, what is needed of elimination. So they are like we humans. We walk around the bush, and we never come to the point because we're scared to hurt this feeling and this feeling. We can't tell the truth. Like they are like, this needs to be done because this is for the greater good. And so saying that it is, older, like if you see in nature, they only kill out the older and the youngsters, or someone that is kind of not able to run away from them. So they know how to do this balance. And if you see, for example, like when a lion is full and they're not hungry, all the animals, they can walk quite close to them because they know that they don't kill just to kill. They only kill when they are hungry or if there is a elimination that is needed. So I have learned that we humans, we tend to bring our own emotions to different situations. And for them, they are like you taking your personal perspective and putting it into a situation, yet there are higher perspectives and bigger aspects of what is going on that we actually are not able to see the full picture.
Thank you. That's a great answer. Thank you. And I think a lot of people will understand lions a little better and some of the other predators from what you've said.
Yeah, so I have examples of this typical thing that people do on many of our animals. So, for example, we have our black leopard Pardis. So she used to live together with another leopard, and very tragically, he passed away for it was a veterinarian mistake that happened. So he passed away, and then so she ended up alone. And then, of course, first instinct as humans is like, oh my God, she's now alone and she must be very lonely. Yeah. And then, so of course, she was in the beginning, she went through grief like like we humans also do. However, after a while, you could see that she was getting happier and was kind of going back to her happy self. And then we got the opportunity to rescue a little leopard and it was a male. So we thought, oh wow, this is a fantastic opportunity. Then now she can get her friend, and then she has another. She doesn't need to be alone. And there was something inside Lisanne and myself. We're like, okay, let's ask her what she wants to. And so Lisanne, separately from me, and also we asked the third person, all of us, to ask Pardis, do you want this leopard to become your friend? And all of us got the same answer, no, I don't. I have had my physical friend, he is still with me in spirit, but I am happy by myself. And so this taught me so much again about like, we think of, oh my God, if I end up alone and I don't have my like partner or whatever it might be, then like that is like a lonely life. But again, like they have such a different perspective, and so we're learning to take away our humanness when we speak commune with the animals, and so to rather listen to what their perspective is. And I have many stories like this.
Yes, yes. We tend to assume we know things that we have no clue about. And so that's a really good example of how animal communication can help with your rescue work, right?
Yes.
Because if you can get information from an individual animal about what they really need and want, then you know how to make their lives better. Is there any other way that you can see that animal communication helps with rescue work or animal welfare and conservation?
Absolutely. So anyone that does rescue work is, for me, this is such an important aspect of it. And again, I bring it back to the humanness. So imagine if you are home and then suddenly I come and I put you in a car and I drive you 10 hours. We get to the airport, I put you in a plane. You have no idea who I am, where you're going, what on earth is happening. You get off this plane, there's another person fetching you, you're going into a home, and suddenly you're sitting in a room. And now what? So imagine that. Or that prior to me coming to fetch you, I tell you, hello, my name is Cathrine, and I am here to give you a better life. But before you get there, you're going to go into this crate or like this little travel thing. And then you're going to drive fast. You're going to like, so we just like you describe every single emotion of the journey. And then when you end, like when you get to the place, you're going to have this and this is going to meet you. This is what your place is going to look like. And imagine that feeling. Like, it is such a massive difference, because suddenly they know where they're going, they understand what's going on, they don't need to be as scared, and suddenly you have a total different experience for them, and that's how the rescue starts. And then, of course, immediately as they get there, like even before they get there, you can, through animal communication, you can actually introduce like the people that's going to take care of them. You can show them the place that they're going to be in. You can talk about the intention of why they are going where they're going, what they're going to be a part of, and and further and further and further. And of course, like then when they settle in, like there's such a difference in animals. So we've had animals that have been completely shut down because they've had experiences beyond what any being should experience, and it takes months and months and months for them to trust you. But then you connect through the heart. So sometimes you don't even talk, you just share love. That's all you do. You just sit there and share love, and you put them in I call it like a circle of love. I even write their names in hearts and put the crystals around it, just to kind of do as much as we can. We even put crystals in their enclosures, around their enclosures, in their drinking water. Like there's a lot of things that you can help them to kind of get over that trauma of a rescue. And then as they settle in, you can connect with them little by little by little, and then they start to lower their guard, and that's when the heart opens up, and that's when this magic happens.
Yeah. So there probably will be people out there listening who do rescue work, or some kind of animal welfare work. Is there any advice you can? They probably don't know about animal communication or haven't studied it. Are there some really simple things people could do to help in these situations?
Yeah, so first of all, you can connect with us at pantheraafrica.com. We have fantastic people that we work with that can assist you with this communication. And then can also that you in your area also then figure out who you can learn this from, because this is something that any person can do. It's nothing special. It's basically just remembering to connect to your heart instead of your mind. So, and I always say all people that work with animals already do this. They're just not aware that they're doing it. So it's just the kind of the awareness aspect of it. And then of course, like the easy thing the easiest, not the easy, but the easiest thing is to, maybe if you people have done meditation, I don't know, but like if you manage to breathe and to calm yourself, and then feel into your heart, and then say, if you have a question for, say it's a dog or a cat or whatever animal it is, and if you have a question, just ask this question and hold that question in your mind, and then just wait for what comes. And I always have a pen and paper, and then I write everything that comes of ideas and thoughts and feelings. And it's kind of a start to just tap into it. But I really recommend to do animal communication course, and to just the easy steps. And then it's like riding a bike. You need to practice. You need to get into this way of thinking and being. And as you do that, everything comes. Then the channel is open.
Great, that's really helpful. So I have one more question for you, and that is, is there a particular message or something really important that the animals that you've spoken with want to relay to humanity? Is there a message for all of us?
Sure. There are many, I would say. If there's one message I feel is there, communal, like where everything kind of boils down to, it is to love yourself, to learn to love yourself. Because like when you manage to have self-love and to love and respect yourself, that is also where then compassion comes for others, for other situations. It's you manage to find your place of safety, you manage to forgive, you manage to to actually open up to the wonders of this world. Because if you have love in your heart, you also dare to look for love. But if you don't have love in your heart, you look for, like, then everything is covered in this fear and all of the other things. So if there's one message, I would say that it's love and self-love, to work on that, because then everything else kind of falls in line. But it's the most difficult part to do. So self-love comes kind of after you've done a lot of other work. But that is kind of the I would say that when you find that love in your heart, then the world opens up to the magic there is.
That's so beautiful, Catherine. Thank you so much. And you're quite right that it's so important, but it also seems to be so challenging, you know? And it's kind of unfortunate that it's so challenging. And I think that the animals can help us with that. They can help us learn how to do that. So you've shared with us one of the messages that the animals have for us. Is there anything else that you want to share? Anything that's important to you? Anything that's in your heart that you want to share with our audience about your journey or the work that you're doing, or any other messages that you feel are important to share?
I feel that if there's one thing I always want to inspire people and show people, is that if you dare to listen to your heart, and if you dare to, like, there's so often everyone that I know is like they have this dream, like, "Oh, I would love to open a bed and breakfast," or "I would love to move to Brazil," or whatever it is. And then immediately there comes like 10 reasons why you shouldn't. Yeah, that's how we are. It's like, no, no, but I can't, blah, 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 blah. And then so what I always say is that, what makes, like, what sets your heart on fire? Like, I have my phrase is like, what makes your heart sing? And if you give yourself maybe 10 minutes, say 10 minutes each day, or even once a month, or even if it's just once a year, and like you write down on a piece of paper all the things that, like, how do I make this happen? Okay, I need to learn. So say if you want to go to South Africa and open the lion sanctuary. Okay, what do I need? Okay, I need money to do this. Okay, how do I get money? Okay, then I need to take a loan. Okay, how do I get the loan? Okay, I have an apartment. Okay, then so I start there. And then it's like, oh, but I need this and this. And so you dare to allow your dream to grow. And that is one of the most important things that I feel that we humans tend to, we put up all our barriers, because like it's better to be safe, because at least I have my life, this is my comfort zone. And it's scary to go there because you have no idea what's waiting for you. Like, maybe you won't make it, and that's like, you feel like it's oh, I'm not good enough. Like, we very quickly to say, oh, this didn't work, so I'm not good enough. I often feel, and this is my, now I'm very open and speaking from my heart, we are also very scared of our success. We are scared of, what if actually this happens? What then? And then it's like, oh my God, like, then this whole new world opens. It's like, oh my God, no, I don't know how to handle this. So then it's more safe to go back. So yeah, long answer. But I feel that if we dare to dream and we water this dream, allow ourselves to like color it with all different, like I like to say, the rainbow colors, like just go crazy and allow this beautiful thing to happen and see where it takes you.
So beautiful. Thank you, Catherine. And how can people find you? What's the best way?
Yeah, so we have a website, so it's pantheraafrica.com. And we also are on Facebook and on Instagram. we are on YouTube, we're even on TikTok, like all these things. I'm very happy I don't do all these things, but Facebook and Instagram are like our biggest platforms. And we have all sorts of people can come and visit as tourists. They can come and volunteer. You can be a doctor of an animal, and like there's many ways of getting involved. So yeah, this just to make contact.
Wonderful. And you're also on Twitter. I noticed that yesterday. So it's so nice that you're putting out there all the amazing work that you're doing. I follow you guys on Instagram, and it's always so nice to see these updates and see what the animals are doing. And so it's really nice that you're sharing that with other people. So anyone around the world can participate, whether they can come in person or not, but they can at least be part of what you're doing. So thank you so much, Cathrine. I mean, I've learned so much, and you've reaffirmed so many things for me in this conversation. And I really hope that people can, one of the things that people can take away from this conversation is seeing the animals as spiritual beings, just as we may see ourselves as spiritual beings who are on this journey. And now I think nowadays, topics like mindfulness and meditation and using crystals, doing healing work, working on trauma, all of these things have, I feel, become a little more normalized, and people are talking about this within the human context. But I hope that people can see that all of these things also apply to the animals as well. And just like we're on our own spiritual journeys, they are as well. And that if we allow ourselves to learn and to listen and to pay attention, they can really assist us in our journeys too. So thank you. I've taken away so much, and I hope people who are listening can at least walk away with a few things that they can start doing, right now, right away.
Yeah, and it's kind of now coming to me what I could also kind of said, but it's like if we look at how we humans manage our world, and you see the chaos, the unbalance, the disharmony, like there's nothing what is like there's no harmony at all. And then you go to Mother Nature, where like the so-called beasts and these animals that are killing and being so like brutal and all of this, but they are keeping the balance. And this is kind of the lesson to us humans, is that we are not managing to eliminate, whether it is our own emotions, like on the inside, that we are not eliminating our own stuff, if I can call it that, that needs to be let go of, or also in our lives, is that we don't also let go of the things and the people and the situations that are not serving us. And we continue to go into these victimhoods or to these constantly like struggles, and like we think that life is all about struggling and kind of like I just go back to like my old life, if I can call it that. Like the more you work, the more you push, the harder like the hours do you work. And like, yes, I got up at 5. Well, I got up at 4. Well, I stayed till 2 o'clock in the night working. Like it's all this competition, and like where is our status symbol? Like if I ask a person like, what does success look like for you? And if you think about, like, for me, success is to live a life like on purpose and with peace and love and joy in my heart. Then I am a very successful person, in my opinion. And but like for most people, it is about like whether it's a house or a job or whatever it is. And that is kind of where the animals are so phenomenal in managing to be present in the moment, and just like this is what is needed and this is what makes harmony. And yes, we humans, we don't always know what the bigger picture is, but we need to have faith and trust that whatever is happening is also for a reason, even though we don't see it at the moment.
Yes. Thank you, Catherine. I've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time. And what I so appreciate about this conversation with you is that you have put it all into perspective and have shown us the enormity of the consciousness of these animals, that they're not just these little furry beings walking around on the earth, but there's an enormous wisdom that they impart and tremendous love. And I really appreciate your perspective on that. So thank you very much. And thank you to all of our listeners for joining us on this episode of Animals and Us, Voices of a New Paradigm. To view the show notes for today's episode, you can go to animalsanduspodcast.com. That's our website. And you can also find us by that name on Instagram and Facebook.
And before you leave, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you can receive new episodes right away when they're released. And if you've enjoyed our podcast, we'd love it if you could leave us a review on your app. And before we go today, we'd like to share a short blessing for the animals.
We'd like to end this podcast by taking just a moment to be quiet. And we give thanks and blessings to these amazing animals that we share our lives with. They give us so much and ask for so little in return. We hope that you can keep the animals and all living beings in your heart and in your mind as you go about your day. Thank you so much for being here with us today.